work husband or work wife. You know, such things need to be checked. So when someone says, oh, you know, you're my work wife, and probably because you go out on lunch together and all that. Hi there.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. I am Chidi Akunna.
And I am Victor Akunna.
Today we'll be addressing the question, am I having an emotional affair without realizing it? And this is for someone who is sitting there and thinking, yes, I'm getting to know this person better, but God forbid, we'll never get to the point where we'll have sex. No, I don't see that happening. Okay? So, and another person will be thinking, what is even this emotional affair they keep talking about? Now, according to Newman MG, in his book, After Proof Your Marriage, published in 2002, emotional affair is when you invest emotional energy outside your marriage. It also includes when you receive support and companionship from this new relationship. You know, when we talk about support and companionship, it's not your regular support and companionship. Come on.
Absolutely. You know, sometimes when the person is giving you a support, you know what the person is trying to do. But unconsciously, maybe because you are enjoying it or you are hoping it's not what you think, and then you let it go. So it's not the regular support someone gives to you, whatever sex the person is, gives to you to support you in your career, in your progression. No, you know that this person is doing something with a hook. They are expecting something for you to reciprocate in a way that you can't offer. All right, so it might be a red flag for you to begin to do something. Okay, so in answering this, we'll be looking at signs, that you're having an emotional affair. So these are things for you to consider and make redress. And the first one is you enjoy another person's company more than your spouse's. Okay, you look forward to being with this person. You just love the time you spend with this person. Like we're saying, emotional affair creeps on you. It's not something that people plan for and say, oh, okay, I'm going to have an emotional affair. No, it just happens. Things trigger them. So when you begin to enjoy this time, you look forward to being with this person. In the book, After Proof Your Marriage, the author gave a very good situation, described as a good situation in that book. And he talked about this couple that, they would often, nothing sexual, but they had a certain time in the day, every day, I think either 2 or 3 p.m., they had to expect, the lady had to expect the other's call, the man's call. And if that did not happen, then, there was a problem. So this was something that over time, their emotions had built up. So it was a time where they connect emotionally. Nothing sexual, but that's something for you to look into it. Absolutely. And sometimes it happens when people are having issues with their spouses. So for example, you are in a situation where you have a spouse who doesn't notice when you come into the room, you've made your hair, you're looking all fly, all shiny and bling bling, and he doesn't even say anything. He doesn't say anything. Say something, guys. Say something. I appreciate the hair. It takes time. She spent almost 2 hours, 3 hours in the salon. Say something, at least anything. And then he doesn't say anything. And then she gets to work, and then this guy just keeps saying, oh, your hair looks so beautiful. I like the way it flows. Wow, this style is better than the last style. So he was noticing, he has been noticing different styles. And then as the way you just pack your hair, just make you look so posh and so intelligent. Wow. I can imagine kind of ideas that be coming from this head. I wish all the ladies who package themselves the way you do. You carry yourself with so much grace. And she's hearing this on a regular basis. Oh wow, she's saying, oh wow. So the key thing there is this. Say something. So if a lady is in that situation where she's getting almost nothing at home or negativity, and then she goes out there and someone is bombarding, sometimes it works the other way around. It's the guy that is getting a lot of negativity at home and then gets to work, and then this lady just saying, wow, she's at the beck and call and say whatever you say, oh my Lord Goddess, oh my Lord God, and that's all she's saying, she's just all over the place. And something about the guy begins to crave for more of that. Why? People naturally gravitate to where they are celebrated. Human beings move to a place of pleasure and they move away from a place of pain. So that is why we mention that sometimes people don't plan for these things. It creeps in on them without them realize. So they begin to crave the presence of this person because there is something about that person's presence that makes them feel love, that made them feel that they belong, even though they know it's not the right environment.
That's true.
And so before you know what is happening, it's like a little thread that keeps moving around your heart, moving around. After a while, it becomes something that is hard, like habitual, that is hard for you to break off. It becomes like cuffs. All right, so it starts with a little, like even the spider web. You just keep going. If it continues round enough, as weak as it is, you'll be shocked the kind of prey it's going to catch.
That's true. That's true. And you talked about it happens sometimes when one person is not getting the assertion he or she needs from home. Okay, it also happens when people are consumed in a project. You might be immersed in something and you're not giving time to the relationship.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so one other person thinks, oh, he or she's not available, I might as well spend time with someone who's available. Yes, so that's one thing to consider. The second point is when you start keeping secrets from your spouse. Now with the kind of description he gave, come on, and then you come back home. You don't talk to your spouse about it because you're enjoying it. You're enjoying, being told, being lavished with words. The kind of things you like to hear. You're enjoying the praise, the attention, and you don't talk to your spouse about it. Gradually, like we said, your emotions start getting entangled with this person.
Usually, the more that happens, the more you keep this secret.
Yes.
And one thing about keeping secret is that secret has a way of bonding people together. Because the more you keep each other's secret, the more it has to bond you together. The more you begin to, it becomes now us versus them.
Yeah.
So sometimes you hear somebody say, oh, I like the way you talk to me. I wish my wife would talk to me like this.
Yeah.
Then now you begin to hear comparisons. Emotions are building. Oh, I like the way you just package, you communicate. I wish my man can talk like that. I wish my wife can be like this. I wish my wife can be half of who you are as a lady. Alright, I won't be in this mess. I can't wait to get out of this marriage. I can't wait for us to elope. All kind of ideas begin to be, you'll be shocked. Alright, so fires don't start, most fires don't start like a bang. Start with a little ball, what they can do. People are amazed. If you go to most of the I think parts of the US where they have instant fire, most times it's not by one big bang. It's just one light in a dry forest, a forest that's already a place that is ready for it. So when people are emotionally stabbed, they are in a place where they are ready for it. Any little spark can trigger things, unless they have something that we are going to be sharing. So stay to the end of the video, we'll share some of those points. Okay,
so the next one is when you start telling the other person certain things about your spouse or about your marriage, your relationship. Like he was saying earlier, you start saying to this person, oh, my husband doesn't treat me right, or my husband spoke to me in a way I didn't like last night, and he just comes to you, rubs your head, and it's like, oh, you don't. Well, before the camera.
Sorry, guys.
He comes to you and he's like, oh, you don't deserve to be talked to like that. Okay, well, pardon us. Okay, and by the time he starts doing that, your emotions start getting entangled. You're feeling really warm around this person, and in no time, it just catches up with you. Go on.
Sorry about that, guys. So it's a serious thing that happens when this begins to happen unconsciously. People begin to share stuff with each other. They begin to build stronger relationship. So at that point, there might be a conflict of values. I should stop this now. And then you say, okay, what? If I get home and it treats me right, I will stop it. And then you get home, it becomes worse. Because one of the key things there is this. Anytime you open your heart to someone else, you might be turning your heart away from your spouse.
Certainly.
Anytime you open your heart to someone else, you might be turning your heart away from your spouse. Alright, so sometimes that you say, so something we'll call, I think it was Jimmy Evans that said, windows and walls and doors. Yeah. So the more you open the window, the window is often a smaller stuff. You open, someone is talking to you and making you feel fly. You're likely to be closing the door on your spouse. Your spouse can't get through, and in fact, you get to that point where you don't even want. Your conversation start becoming basic, and you are irritated by everything they do. Irritates you, right? Because someone else is meeting that emotionally your spouse is supposed to be. So the commitment and the discipline to work through your relationship won't be there, because whatever she's going to get, you're getting from her, you're getting it from somewhere else. So there's no point trying to make your marriage work, because it's in your best interest for it not to work, so that this will carry on working. So that's why it's very good for you to call yourself to order and say, you know what, you need to put this down.
Yeah, and you know, the more windows you open, the more doors you shut.
Absolutely.
Until it becomes a barricade, and you don't access it anymore. Okay. So the next point is when you start dressing to impress someone else, not your spouse. Okay, you want to look good. You're very conscious of how you look stepping out, not because you would want your husband to, you know, appreciate you or something, or because you would like it. You're making an effort deliberately to catch the attention of somebody other than your spouse.
So that's one key thing. Every one of your fashion decisions are now being controlled by somebody that is not even married to you. You are looking at, when you are trying to select a certain color, a certain suit, and like, I wish you like it. Okay.
Yeah.
She says she likes blue. Alright. You begin to buy more blue shirts. Unconsciously. You begin to buy more white shirts. Unconsciously. You begin to dress to appeal to that person. Why? Something about you creates more of that experience.
Okay, so now we'll be sharing with you what you need to do. Okay, having highlighted some of these things. Okay, so what you need to do. The first thing we'll be sharing with you is for someone who hasn't even found him or herself in a situation like this, you need to set boundaries.
Absolutely.
Okay, relationships work best with boundaries. We always say define every relationship. Define every relationship. Have those boundaries there. When you have boundaries, you're in your mind, you know, oh, okay, I can't go beyond this. I can't be saying this. I can't be spending this much time with this person. I can't be out this late with this person. These are boundaries.
Boundaries usually work when you have personal boundaries. And that's where you start from. If you don't have personal boundaries in your own life, it's hard for you to set boundaries with somebody else. Because you won't be strong. What are boundaries? Let's paint a picture like you are buying a plot of land. You need it to be walled. Otherwise, people may build and encroach into your land. It's basically a simple idea of boundaries. Now, when it comes to relationship, you may have a personal boundary to say, I don't call any lady unless she's family and beyond a certain time. And that's your own personal boundary. It doesn't mean that you have anything. It's just your personal boundary. I don't make such calls at this point, unless the person is like family and, you know, everybody is aware. That's your own personal boundary. So another lady may have a boundary that no guy calls me at this time, or if someone calls me, I'm going to pick the call in my spouse's presence. That's you trying to create a safe environment for people to feel trusted. So once you begin to create that boundary, or even someone calls you and say, you know what, okay, I appreciate this. Can we talk about this at work? You're not rude. You're just telling the person, don't call me at this time. Alright, so once you do it once, try, especially if you are the type of person who doesn't like to be confrontational. You don't have to be confrontational. You can just come in a very or you miss the call. Sorry, I was with family. You are communicating with a person that once I leave work, family time is family time. Don't encourage into my family. Alright, this is how you teach people without being rude or without being aggressive about it. Okay.
And you know, for the workplace, sometimes you hear things like, work husband or work wife. You know, such things need to be checked. So when someone says, oh, you know, you're my work wife, and probably because you go out on lunch together and all that, you need to curb it.
Absolutely.
You know, shut it at that time. So that's you creating certain boundaries. Okay? So the next point is you start cutting back. You need to cut back on communication, cut back on time. Like, okay, with the example I gave earlier, going for lunch together. Now this person comes to you, oh, okay, can we do lunch? And you say, oh, okay, I came with my own lunch. That's because you're trying to make an effort now. You know your emotions are wrapped around this person, so you're trying to help yourself. You need to cut back. When communication is starved in a relationship, it impacts it greatly. So you need to starve that relationship of communication, of time, the time you spend together. You can say to him, oh, don't worry, I'll go for lunch later. Something like that. That's you cutting back.
Yeah, so that cutting back is very important. Now, the cutting back is not dependent on your spouse's behavior. So because some people will say, I'll cut back if you start acting like someone that has sense. No, it's not. It's based on your personal. That's why I said boundaries work when you have personal boundaries. It's your own personal principle. So you have to begin to cut back whether your spouse reciprocates or not, or whether your spouse begin to chase you or not. No, you're cutting back for your own self, for your own personal standard. All right, raise your standard. All right, so that's one key thing. It's not dependent on someone. This is your own personal choice. All right. And so the moment you begin to cut back, the person may feel like, are you jilting me? They may feel, it's just natural for people to begin to feel like they will begin to have some form of way. Some people may become more aggressive from people because they are also depending on it. Remember, we said emotional affairs is a two-way street. So the natural thing for you to do is they may think that, okay, maybe you're just having a brainwave, you're going to come back to it. But consciously set that boundary and try to pull that relationship to a professional relationship. Alright, so it might be hard. Every relationship, every situation will be different. So you will know what we do to get across to the person.
Okay. And it's just like people who want to quit smoking.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for them, especially the first few days.
Yeah.
Really, really, when they start craving nicotine, really hard for them. So for you, it's gonna feel like that, almost like that. You'll be tempted to want to go. Oh, but he's there, sitting in the restaurant. Let me just go meet him. So you need to. It would take beyond your willpower. Okay. To go about this.
And sometimes, let's just put this caveat. Sometimes not that something is happening, but because you guys are always together, people around you are the ones insinuating that things will happen. Alright, so maybe you always go together on lunch. Every time they see you guys together, she goes out, she buys things for you only, not everyone else. You go out and buy only for him, not everyone else. After a while, people will begin to make conclusions. And so even that, you need to seek comfort as well. Because even though both of you know nothing is happening, but when people think something is happening, it might compromise your judgment or compromise your reputation in the work environment. Why? Because in this work environment that we are in, what do you call it now? Perspective, people's opinion is as real as facts. Fact is no longer so important. When people think you guys are having an affair, that is fact. Because they will go about talking about it without even asking your opinion. And if you're a manager and a lot of people think that you are compromised on moral standards, you go to ebb away, you go to eat away at your authority as a manager. You don't want that to be your own experience because people, can portray you in a very bad light. Yeah.
So the next point is that you need to pull your heart back.
Yeah.
Now, like we said earlier, this would be difficult for you, especially in the first few days. You need to pull your heart back. What we've come to know is that when people are emotionally involved with somebody else, it doesn't let them work on their relationship. That part of their relationship, you give up on your relationship. Really, you just feel that's how my husband is. That's how my wife is. She's not gonna change. She's not gonna change. So because you're enjoying the new relationship.
Absolutely.
But when you start pulling your heart back, you might begin to open your mind to consider what you can do, what options, how you can strategize to win your spouse's attention.
That gradual pulling is not going to be automatic because you didn't get to this other point, to this other extreme, to this other end automatically the same day. So you're going to be a gradual thing. Like she said earlier on, communication need to be severe. Start gradually, reducing the way you smile about some certain jokes that you used to smile about. When he flirts at you, don't do as if you're not even noticing it. Alright, don't reciprocate or make, these are some little things. As a lady, you know what to do that you can shut down something when you want to shut it down. But don't shut it down, especially if you are doing something like that with your boss. You have to be deliberate about how you shut it down because some people would now become vindictive. Alright, so you might even have to ask for people to be moved to different departments if it's happening at work. Alright, so if you are probably in another environment, change the location. Alright, so because constant interaction, proximity is the key to impact, according to some of them. Constant interaction has a way of fueling relationship, and interaction has a way of fueling and bonding. Okay, so find a way to cut communication. Visibility also help. Alright, so these little things can help. But if you need extra help and you feel that you want someone, you have gotten yourself so deep you don't know how to come out of it, give us a shout out. Send us an email.
The link, we will leave a link under this video. Just click on the link and it'll get to us.
Absolutely.
We'll be in touch. Okay, so until we come your way again, do not forget, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, Foundation for Family Affairs, please subscribe, turn on your notification bell. And if you think you would want to share some ideas on what we have talked about, please do so in the comment section. We'll be happy to read from you.
And if you have a point or a topic you want us to look at, or a review that you want to probably send to your friends, leave us a comment or send us an email at
info@foundationforfamilyaffairs.org.
We'll review it.
info@foundationforfamilyaffairs.org. Alright, until we come your way again, it's goodbye from us.